Brothers and sisters in Islam, today our khutbah is about true brotherhood. And we'll begin with the verse from Surah Al-Hujurat where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً. Indeed, the believers are brothers. فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ أَخَوَيْكُمْ. So make amends, rectify the relationships, the conditions between your brothers. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. And fear Allah so that you may receive mercy. So, brotherhood, this is not just a social courtesy. This is a very strong tie. And what makes it a strong tie? Because it's through Iman. Allah Azza wa Jal says, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً. The believers are brothers. So the strong tie and the common point or the factor between them is that they are believers. There's, in the early 80s and 90s, things changed a little bit now, but there was something I used to read about the CLIC and it used to make me jealous of them. The CLIC religion, they truly believe that they're brothers. And they said in the 80s and 90s, if you went from India to London and you don't have any preparation, you don't know anyone in London and you were a Sikh, you would just go to a phone book, open a directory and randomly pick a Sikh name. And you would call that person and they would come pick you up from the airport and they would take you to their home and give you a place to stay and feed you until you can find a job and you can stand on your own feet. This is how serious they were about their brotherhood. And you wonder, the Muslims, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the only true book on this planet that we're believers. And we don't see this level of brotherhood. Or not as common. That's why when the Muhajirin entered the city of Al-Madinah, the Prophet ﷺ was able to integrate them into the city and into life there in just 6 months. All of them had homes, lives, work, and they were not labeled as foreigners or newcomers or refugees. No one accused them of coming and taking jobs or anything like that. Because the Prophet ﷺ used al-mu'akha, he used the brotherhood system. But they took it seriously. They took it seriously. And we'll get a glimpse of that from this narration of Abdurrahman ibn Auf. Abdurrahman ibn Auf is from one of the 10 given glad tidings of paradise. And the Prophet ﷺ made the mu'akha, the brotherhood between him and Sa'id ibn Rabi' or Sa'd ibn Rabi'. قال عن عبد الرحمن بن عوف رضي الله عنه أنه لما آخى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بينه وبين سعد بن الربيع قال له سعد يا أخي أنا أكثر الأنصار مالا. So he's saying when Abdurrahman ibn Auf became a brother of Sa'd ibn Rabi', and they're not blood brothers, the Prophet ﷺ made an Ansari a brother of the Muhajir. He says, my brother, I am of the wealthiest of the Ansar. فانظر أي نصف من مالي تريد فخذه. He said, look at which half of my wealth you want, take it. He said, I'm very wealthy from the Ansar. Look at my wealth and look at which half you want and take it. ولي امرأتان فانظر أيهما أعجبتك فسمها لي أطلقها. He says, and I have 2 wives. See which one of them you like more and name her to me and I will divorce her. Here's proof that we don't understand true brotherhood. Many people, when they hear this narration, their only concern is, how can he say that about his wife? She's not his possession. It's not his decision. That's all they took from the narration. Sa'd radiallahu anhu is showing his sincerity and his degree of willingness to share with his brother. So he's making the initial offer. طبعا, if Abdurrahman ibn Auf has the good taste, the dhawq to refuse the offer. But do you think if he said yes, is it up to him? Is it up to Sa'd, who his ex-wife is going to marry? It's not his decision anyways. It's an offer showing sincerity and willingness. That is what it means. And then of course the response of Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiallahu anhu, قال عبد الرحمن بارك الله لك في أهلك ومالك. May Allah put blessing for you in your family and in your wealth. ولكن دلني على السوق. He said, just show me the way to the market. And he showed him the way to the market. And he went and he became from the millionaires of Al-Madinah. So it's not just America that's a land of opportunities. Yani. So we know from the famous hadith, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. This hadith in Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. One of you is not truly a believer. Yani your iman is not complete until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. And for the sisters, you love for your sister what you love for yourself. So you see sometimes someone will purchase a new car and someone is jealous of them. Not happy for them, but they're jealous. Or they've got newfound wealth. Or a simple thing, like someone gets a good parking spot. It's Taraweeh, it's Ramadan, it's Jum'ah. What do you do when you see a good spot and someone takes it right before you? Yani, tawali, you feel the hasra, yani, I missed it. How many people say, Hani Anlak, good for you, I'm happy for you. Yani, do I love for my brother the same way I love for myself? If someone takes a great spot right in front of me, I should be happy for them. Yeah, simple things like a free parking space. And we're like, I almost got it. You know, in Japan, when you come early to work, you park far. It's the exact opposite of what we do in America. When you come early, you take the great spot. And you don't want to move it at lunch because you have the great spot. And you tell people, I park right near the door. In Japan, they park far. And as the earlier you come, the further out you park. Why? Shuful akhlaq. They say, because my co-worker who comes late is more in need of parking near the door than I am. Look at this akhlaq. Just loving for your brother. Simple tests like this. You know, go to any masjid in the US. I'm not picking on our masjid. Go to any masjid in the US and look at the parking at Jum'ah. And look at who blocks whom and who double parks. And I'll get it quickly after the salah. Khalas, I don't want to inconvenience myself. It's all about me. I don't want to walk a long distance. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in Sahih Muslim, Al-Muslimu akhul Muslim. The Muslim is the brother of another Muslim. La yadlimhu. He does not wrong him. He does not do injustice to him. وَلَا يَخْذُلْهُ. And he does not abandon him or let him down. Which means, the scholars explain, that you defend your brother, that you are there to support them. You don't leave them, you don't abandon them. Taban, this is meaning they're in the right. They're not in the wrong in this case. You don't defend them if they're in the wrong. But you also don't go overboard, which we're going to look at in a little bit, inshallah. وَلَا يَحْقِرْهُ. لا يحقره يعني, you don't mention their flaws, their shortcomings. You don't hurl insults at them, or names, or ridicule, or make fun of them, or their appearance, or their financial situation, or their bodily defects. But today, brothers and sisters, yani, there is little loyalty, little true loyalty amongst the believers. People are selling each other out. They betray each other. Calling the FBI in America, mashallah, we call the FBI on each other. The FBI agents used to complain to us after 9/11. They said, we get so many calls from Muslims, and by law we have to research and investigate every single one of them. And he said, 90-some% of them at the end of the day, oh, this guy, he was his business partner, the business went underground and it failed, he called the FBI on him. This guy, مش عارف, he won't marry his daughter, he called the FBI on him. Half of it is like that. One person makes a mistake, or you make one mistake, and everyone around you abandons you. You misspeak once. You give 100 khutbahs. Someone doesn't like one. They write an email or a complaint immediately. Sheikh gives one fatwa you don't like, don't take anything from this sheikh. I don't listen to the sheikh. And I mean here, and for the rest of the khutbah, I am referring to people who have good aqeedah. I'm not talking about deviants and heretics, mubtadi'ah. I'm talking about people who have good aqeedah. You don't like one fatwa, so don't take anything from the sheikh. Like, why not? Just don't take that fatwa from the sheikh. Why did you cancel his entire life? Why did you cancel every word that came out of his mouth? I this is so common. And now with the internet, things get so much worse. Oh, I disagree with him politically. Well, we all disagree politically. Look at the example from the Battle of Siffin. The Battle of Siffin is the most unique battle in human history. There will never be another one like it, and there's never been one like it before. The two camps were fighting each other. And then there was a period where there is like a cessation of hostilities. They stopped fighting for a while. And the soldiers would go into the other camp. And they would have lunch together, and they would drink whatever they drink together. They would have dinner together and chit chat for hours. And then at night they go back to their camp. So I'll see you tomorrow. If the battle resumes tomorrow, I'll be on the other side. Yani what's so unique about this battle is that they understood that the other person, even though he's on the other side of the battlefield, I don't have a problem with him. We disagree on one issue. But besides that, I believe they're a righteous person. And if they ask for my sister's hand in marriage, I would give them. I don't cancel out your entire life because we disagree on one issue. They could clearly separate where they disagreed and the many important issues, meaning the tenets of faith, where they do agree. And that's why we said earlier that it's based on something strong. It's based on al-Iman. So I forgot all the pillars of Iman where we agree, and because we disagree on one issue. And in the Battle of Siffin, it was a political issue. It was a timing issue. They didn't cancel each other out. So compare how we are today. Boycott the sheikh, boycott the masjid. Unity and brotherhood, they're based on agreeing on the fundamentals of faith. And we can disagree with each other, and we're bound to disagree. But I'm not your brother anymore because we disagree on one issue. Listen to this. Sauda bint Zam'a radiallahu anha, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the mother of the believers. All right. So she saw Suhail ibn Amr. Suhail ibn Amr was known from amongst the Meccans. He was bound, his hands bound to his neck, and he was brought in as a captive after the Battle of Badr. And this incident is mentioned in multiple books. Ibn Abi Shayba mentions it in his Musannaf, Ibn Rahawayh mentions it in his Musnad, and Tabarani mentions it in Al-Kabir. She said, she's narrating herself. She says, فَلَمَّا رَأَيْتُ أَبَا يَزِيدَ. Aba Yazid is the kunya of Suhail ibn Amr. She said, فَلَمَّا رَأَيْتُ أَبَا يَزِيدَ مَجْمُوعَةً يَدَاهُ إِلَىٰ عُنُقِهِ. When I saw Aba Yazid and his hands were bound to his neck, قُلْتُ يَا أَبَا يَزِيدَ. I said, Ya Aba Yazid. She said, أُعْطِيتَهُمْ بِأَيْدِيكُمْ. The most important part she said, she's basically saying you turned yourself in by yourself. And then she says, هَلَّا مُتُّمْ كِرَامًا. She said, why didn't you die an honorable death? Right. Is dying, fighting Allah and His Messenger an honorable death? It's not an honorable death. But for the Arabs, it's more honorable to die in battle as opposed to... So she says, why didn't you die an honorable death? If he would have died in the Battle of Badr, it would not have been an honorable death. So she said, فَمَا أَنْبَهَنِي إِلَّا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم وَهُوَ يَقُولُ. She said, the only thing that brought me to my attention, that what I said was so wrong, was that the Prophet ﷺ is saying, Ya Sauda, أَعَلَى اللَّهِ وَعَلَى رَسُولِهِ. You're inciting him against Allah and His Messenger. So then she says, وَالَّذِي بَعَثَكَ بِالْحَقِّ. She swears by the one who sent you with the truth. مَا مَلَكْتُ نَفْسِي حِينَ رَأَيْتُهُ أَنْ قُلْتُ مَا قُلْتُ. I couldn't control myself when I saw him in that situation. That's why I said what I said. Imagine someone makes a statement like this today, in our day and age. What would happen? Well, we'll take him out of Islam for sure. There's no second chance. There are no mistakes. You can't make a mistake. There's no excuses, no forgiveness, no mercy. It's not true brotherhood that we have. Would you like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to judge us with the same harshness we judge each other? Some people are emotional, some people misspeak, some people miscommunicate. Some people still think that religiosity is rigidity. To nitpick and ask detailed questions and complain about every little thing, that shows I'm religious. It happens all the time. And the worst thing, brothers and sisters, is when somebody hates another believer and he thinks he's doing it for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. Because if I hate someone because he has a new Mercedes, one day I'll feel ashamed of myself. So what? It's just dunya, it's cars. But if I think that I hate him, and this is deen, this is my religiosity in front of Allah Azza wa Jal, when am I ever going to stop that? But the example was mentioned by Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali rahimahullah, and he was one of the students of Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. He said one day, one of the biggest enemies of Ibn Taymiyyah died. His biggest enemy died. So his friends came to give him the good news. This is your enemy, your nemesis, he died. So they came and said, good news, your enemy so-and-so died. So, فَنَهَاهُ عَنْ ذَلِكَ وَانْتَهَرَهُ. In this narration, he yelled at this one person who gave him the news. He said, لَا تُبَشِّرْنِي بِمَوْتِ مُسْلِمٍ. He said, don't give me glad tidings of the death of a Muslim. And he reprimanded him, and he yelled at him, and then he got dressed. And he went to the family of the deceased. And he فَعَزَّاهُمْ, he consoled them and offered his condolences. And he said, إِنِّي لَكُمْ مَكَانَهُ. I am to you in his place. Whatever you need, I will do it before anyone. Whatever you ask me before you ask anyone else. And he says, وَمَا يُسُرَّنِي أَنَّ شَيْئًا يُصِيبُكُمْ. It would not please me for any harm to touch any of you. This is how he behaved with his enemies, rahimahullah. Beware, brothers and sisters, of trying to prove religiosity by pointing the flaws of others. Many people try to show, I'm religious, but look, by pointing the flaws of other people, shows that my standards are high. Beware of convincing yourself that you're religious by nitpicking. This should have been like that, and this should be longer, that should be kida, and scrutinizing and pointing out what others do is unacceptable. Hold yourself to that standard first. Beware of feeling good about yourself because you see others as bad. And if you're busy with yourself, you will have no time for the mistakes of others. If you're busy with yourself, you will have no time for the mistakes of others. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم من جميع الذنوب فاستغفروه فيا فوز المستغفرين. Indeed, those who ask for his forgiveness shall prosper. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. In this masjid we try to not give these angry khutab and negative khutab and yell at people. So I already asked for pardoning. I didn't mean that. But wallahi, it's a bad state. Wallahi, this one sheikh was telling me, he says the community is rooting for my children to fail. ليش? He said because if they see my children as failures, they feel better about their children. ابن الشيخ طلع أي صفر. The sheikh's son is 0. So alhamdulillah, I'm not too bad عامل فيه قرآن وحديث وهو ابن زي he said, wallahi, this woman came to me and she was smiling كده. Your son so-and-so did this with the boys. خرب وكسر, he did this and that. He said, I reviewed the cameras. My son is in my office. He doesn't even know these kids. But the happiness that she had, that I caught your son doing something wrong. قال لك أنا ملاك أنا. Yeah, my son can make a mistake. What's the problem? And for me personally, I tell the community, I'm telling you now, any of my kids do anything wrong, you feel free to reprimand them. I'm not going to come back, why did you raise your voice at my kids? I'm not white. Al-Muhim. So, في الختام, what are some of the ways to increase good brotherhood, true brotherhood amongst ourselves? Number one, remove envy. Congratulate each other. Congratulate each other for success, for good things. Be genuinely happy. Not just little things like the parking space. Be happy for each other. Second thing is give gifts. And Nabi ﷺ said, Tahadu, tahabbu. If you look this up just in psychology, what it does when people give gifts to one another. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Forgive one another. No relationship, not a marital relationship, not a friendship relationship, not even a sibling relationship can survive grudges and anger. There has to be forgiveness. Forgive one another. Give gifts to each other, to one another. Remove any envy. Make sure anytime you see someone with something good, you don't move past it until you make sure that I'm genuinely happy for this individual. And help one another, assist, give assistance, and do it secretly as well.